try and get it shared with a few folks who possibly will practice with us, but of course you never know who might practice, who might not. I'll send it to the standing each one group, see if that helps, and then I'll post the link, and then I'll get focus in. There we are. Boxer stance practice. That's on our agenda for today. I don't think that we used external support during boxer stance, but I have a stick just over here, so I'm going to do a little, I think a little warm up for the calves and ankles, so that'll kind of be the focus. All right, I think there, as usual, feel free to type in any question or comment. Click that button that says you want to be notified when I'm live, if you do, because I don't do these on a schedule. They're just when I can find a few minutes, usually between teaching sessions, and so they can come up anytime. I got the sun in my eyes, so the whole screen's a glare. I'll try and check in on my view of it here as we go, in case you're giving me any comments or questions. So I'm just going to work here by shifting and pivoting on the ball of the foot, shifting and pivoting on the ball of the foot, shift, pivot on the ball of the foot. So I'm pivoting here, and that means I'm shifting, tracking the knee, and then using the two hips to pivot, shift, track, right? And pivot. We haven't done any pivoting drills, so I'm not going to be overly describing this. I just want to loosen up these joints in this slightly wider stance than usual. Of course, I'd invite you to be in a warm spot on a strong level bit of ground, wearing something or being somewhere or both that allows you good purchase, so that your feet grip instead of slip. And that could mean socks but on carpeting, and it could mean tile floor but with sneakers, and it could be barefoot on wood floor with enough humidity to give you some traction. Good, good. So now I'm just going to lift the heel, lift the ball, lift the heel, lift the ball, lift the heel, lift the ball. So I guess I'll do that on profile here. Heel, ball, ball. So I'm really just kind of rocking, chairing the sole of my foot. And I'm trying to be careful that as I go back, I don't shoot my butt out or lean my chest forward. And similarly, I don't bring my pelvis forward and my shoulders back, for example. I want to just feel that I'm working this out in the joints of the legs. And doing the boxer stance, you tend to get tired in the calves, maybe foot and ankles to some extent. But it does feel, I think I was leaning a little bit. I'm on a little slope here, but be careful as usual. If your weight's on one side, you put it there vertically, so it has a tendency to stay there. You consciously build the structure such that that structure is going to tend to be where you've placed it. Here, my structure is not going to tend to stay here. If I place it here, I need constant work to stay here. But in this horse stance, this structure is going to tend to stay here in this alignment. Good. So now I'm just going to do some heel lifts. Trying to adjust this a little bit there. So heel lift, good. So I'm in flats, I'm in 1-inch pumps, 2-inch pumps, 3-inch pumps, 4-inch pumps, and maybe all the way up to killer stilettos, and then down. So I'm gonna kind of ratchet my way up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so, and then just release and let my legs down, up, down, out, as if I'm kind of bouncing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so, whatever your count is, and then a little bit of a shock, trying to release the teeth, release the bones, release the tissues, and then I just kind of fake it as if I'm really on a trampoline, and I just kind of up, down, a little bit rapidly with my legs. And mostly that's just a little bit of fun, but it does take some mental coordination because it isn't really happening to you. Once I settle, I'm settled, like that. So ratchet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little more difficult version, 1 inch, 1 second, come up to 2 inches, 2 seconds, come up to 3 inches, 3 seconds, come up to 4 inches, be there for 4 seconds, up to 5 inches, be there for 5 seconds. Maybe it's not 5 inches, it's just count 5. Then up to 6, maybe you're not 6 inches high, but you're at your 6th reach, and be there for 6 seconds, and then settling in. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Try it again. I'll make a note of what we're doing. Hi Deirdre, how are you? I'm not sure if you go by Deirdre Claire or if that's just what your name looks like when I see it, but let me know. Happy to try and remember. So same thing, heel raises at your own pace. I'm just going to stay in this low one while I type, as I have a scratch pad to do. All right, good. Got a little note there. So do another, going to do another version of this. So you can sit down, and if you want to go back to those rocking chair, I'm doing this as an unweighted one, right? Shifting here and doing that unweighted rocking chair stretch. It can be practiced with the weight, and usually I keep the weight in the middle and practice it this way, but as a simple stretch, so it's not so much a strengthening thing, and it allows us to focus in on some stability here as we work into our stances. That's the way I'm doing it. And then we're gonna add to that and continue my notes. Welcome everybody. So the next version, same exercise, kind of ratcheting our way up, but I'm going to just try and stay for one breath cycle at each level. So a cycle is an inhale as well as an exhale, and we'd like to have those be even, so the same quality and roughly the same timing for inhale as exhale. So I wouldn't consider a breath cycle for these purposes like that. And you might feel like you want to do that because it's a strain and you want to hurry to get to the next piece. And if that's the case, don't push it, as always. So here we go. We're going to come up just about an inch or 1 ratchet mark. Inhale, exhale. And then we'll come up to level 2. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Then come up to level 3, if you can. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let's come up to 4. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. I think that was 3. Inhale, exhale, come up to 5. Exhale, exhale, that's 2. Exhale, that's 3. Inhale, exhale, that's 4. Last one. Exhale, and then if we can, we'll come up to 6. You might be on your way down and resting or stretching. Exhale, that's 1 of 6. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, that's halfway. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. I think that was 5. Inhale, exhale, release, and there we go. So we're going to come into boxer stance practice. That's our little warm-up. No Dao Yin exactly in this one. And so let's try our boxer stance. Feet fairly close together, open 1 foot, step this about 1.5 foot distance, maybe up to 2 feet, depends on you and what what you want in your training. And then I'm going to toe it in. Do that again. Open, step, toe in. Of course, once you understand that, I'm just trying to help you measure it, right? I can do all this at once, so I can just place my foot and step, or I can open my foot and step it to the toed in position, right? So that's fine. Of course, we went over that, I think, when we taught it. And then coming up on the balls of the feet. So the heels float without leaning. And once we come up in a stance, like here we have this up with the heels, it's very easy for us to think up with everything. So my chest comes up, my legs straighten, my idea about what's happening is that this is an up thing, and I consequently can end up kind of having this feeling like a raised center of gravity. I just switched sides, I guess. But it's important for me to understand in stance work, I'm present in my legs, right? I'm expressing a foundation, and I'm experiencing that foundation. And from that foundation, I'm going to express other things, which is not what I've been doing in these episodes. But being present in this stance is what's going to allow me to do the other things I do later, which, throw the weapon and swing the sword and throw the punch and protect the head and whatever it might be. So here I am, just settled in to this stance, which we rarely see, as I taught before with the boxer stance, rarely see this without gestures, and we rarely see it as a static stance. It's a stance that you're just constantly moving, locomotively moving, moving with the rest of the body as you do whatever it is you're doing, and certainly transitioning from left to right, forward to back, advanced stepping through it, and so forth. But this is a pretty tough one because you really emphasize a more particular part of the legs rather than, say, a horse stance where you kind of get quite a bit of the leg involved, upper and lower, back and front. So I'll just check in to see what kind of questions. Hi, Darcy, welcome, hooray, hooray. And hi, Will. Is Will there? Bill, you there? Bill Card, hi. Good. This episode is sponsored by Automotive Consultants in Ithaca, New York. Come down now for the best price, best service, and best customer relationship you'll ever have. And good jokes. Good. Drive your old wheels to automotive consultants. Pick up some new wheels at Unheard of Steels. That's right, automotive consultants. Click the button at the bottom of your screen. Subscribe now. Show up now. Clip the coupon, etc. So we explored this with the body, variously blading, but I've just sat into it now kind of as, you know, as we come into this practice. Instead of looking for a bunch of variations and distract myself, I'm just trying to be present in those legs, which is plenty hard in this stance for most people. I can feel a little bit of the wind picking up too. So I'll just switch sides. Maybe I'll do this a little bit more profile. Oops, that's going to be slippery. Got our Qilin over there waiting for some Qilin review. But I think tomorrow we do assisting stance practice, and then we pick up from where we did cross stance. We'll teach, I guess, 2 new stances over those following 2 days. Although we got a snowstorm coming, so we might be teaching in the snow. Let's see. And then I guess then we'll do a review of cross stance and the following 2 stances, and then we'll have 3 days of practicing each of those stances, cross and then X, whatever those will be. And that'll put us through to about another week. After that, I'll have to make a call. Am I going to keep teaching stances? Is there interest? Are people actually practicing or just checking in? Or is there interest in teaching pivoting or stepping, practices, exercises, drills? Can we teach gestures with stances? You know, of course, we haven't in this session at all. Good. So you may remember that when we were learning the boxing stance, you'll tend to have more of your weight on the rear. So if you haven't done that, let's re-emphasize that as we switch sides. I just have my foot turned in 20 or 30 degrees from where I'm facing. The back foot similar, maybe a bit wider than that, but you know, maybe 30 to 40. But very similar. Of course, this is just a boxing stance. There's plenty of versions for sure, but that goes for all the stances I'm showing. I'm just showing you a version, not even necessarily my version, the way I do it in my system, just showing you a version that I think is teachable on Zoom or Facebook, live stream, whatever, and accessible to folks, particularly the target for this, right? The true beginner. The Mushin. So generally when you're learning a boxing stance, you're going to favor the rear leg a little bit, and the idea is that I can fire that energy into, you know, who of course I'm fighting, who I'm facing. In a sport, you're always facing the person you're fighting. You know, that's the setup, right? You might not end that way, like if it's wrestling, but you're going to start that way. Almost without fail, right? Maybe not Greco-Roman wrestling as I think about it. But in the stance, you certainly can favor the rear a little bit more, and you can favor the the front fully, or even just a little bit more, such as you would, you know, as you're throwing the punch, you're driving off the back foot, and you end up on the front leg fully. But for now, we're going to get our focus to maybe 60%, 70% to the rear, keeping your verticality, breathing. Heels are still up just a bit, you know, maybe around that ratchet 2 mark or so that we were doing in the warm-up. This might be easier without having done that warm-up in the sense that you're not pre-tired. But a big element in doing warm-ups is not just physically warming up the body, but bringing the mind into the presence of the practice. I'll talk to people that are returning to school after some years, you know. They might have had a career and then they're going back to college. And you'll see this kind of warm-up period over a first few months where they kind of sort of reinstall the study type of brain, you know, like it's really, really hard in the beginning to get used to taking notes, to get used to reading that much, to get used to having that sort of operating system run that addresses and solves and manages the problems that are presented, because it's a different type of kind of brain than you might be using in your ordinary life. And then, you know, in semester 2, they're like, yeah, I'm back into it. I'm into it. And they can't much explain why, but they almost always recognize, oh yeah, you know, I'm back in that mode. I'm back in school mode. And perhaps to a lesser degree, you know, after a semester abroad or after a long holiday break, students will have that for, let's say, a few days or a week where they're not quite into it. Similarly here, doing a warm-up helps me shift into that mode. Like, oh yeah, I'm practicing, I'm paying attention to principles, I'm devoting myself to this, I'm not being distracted by other things, I'm doing this thing. And in the very beginning, I might be poorly doing it, leaving stuff out, forgetting important details, forgetting an emphasis, de-emphasizing things, overly emphasizing other things, doing much of it well, but certain things just forgotten, right? Whether to do or when to do or how to do or how much to do. And so that warm-up is also kind of mental, right? Like helping me to shift into the mode. So when we were doing those standing on the calves, that helps me mentally get into that. Like, oh yeah, don't overbend the knees. Don't shoot the tailbone back. Try and keep my shoulders over my hips, even though the ankles and knees are moving a lot, right? Try and be okay with the pain in the leg. You know, the good workout pain, as opposed to, oh, that's tough, let me just have a seat, right? Because I've shifted into recognizing, oh yeah, I'm practicing. This is what I'm meant to do now. I knew I was going to feel warm and tired and, you know, wishing I was just eating brownies on the couch or whatever. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Kelly. Hello. Hey, Bob. This is another one you can do right in the kitchen, Bob. If you meet my student Barbara, you can ask her about practicing in the shower, and the advice is do not. Not a good place. A lot of times, especially parents and new children, practicing in the shower might be seem to be your only opportunity, you know, to actually have alone time, you know, however fleeting and brief and miraculous it is. But I don't recommend practicing balance drills or footwork drills in the shower. What with the whole falling, and most things in the vicinity of the shower are not soft, cushy surfaces or even geometries to receive a falling body. So here's the boxer stance. I'm going to do the next one just a little bit more squat. So I'm going to make sure that I have most of my weight to the rear and that my knee doesn't shoot past, but I'm going to have a little bit more of a sink here. Try not to just lean forward. As I sink, I keep the heel up. I'm going to direct my mind just a little bit left of the direction that my lead foot is pointing, my left foot for me. here. I guess I'm getting used to no interaction in these, just me talking to myself, so maybe what I'll do in the future is just record them and get better sound, because I can do noise canceling when I record it. Because there may be no good reason to do a live stream. I've certainly made it clear where I can be found online often enough, so I don't know if just finding people, which the live stream should do, is enough of a reason all by itself. Wind is picking up now. Pivot or reset. Yeah, I guess I'll reset since I'm trying not to teach that pivot. And I sink in. Again, boxer stance is so difficult for me not to just kind of ritually raise the hands. Woo. Starting to feel that now, that's nice. Do a little bit facing into that boxer stance. Weight on the rear. Glad to see you check us out again, Bob. I don't think I've seen Darcy on one of these yet, so that's a nice surprise. Kelly's made it again. Deirdre might be here more often than me, or Deirdre Claire perhaps. We'll have to have Deirdre do a guest teaching spot, because she's watched all of these, I think, and can obviously therefore teach it better than me. Been recently adding 2 other interstitial practices every day as a live stream. I was thinking I'd do a little bit more reading soon. I was also thinking of doing some of the reading as a course, as a class on strategy. Asian sage strategies. That's been my thinking. I suppose if it's not going to be a course, maybe I'll just do some readings of them, maybe with the fuzzies. I don't know. Ooh, feeling that. Good. I think I'll probably transition into a cool down here shortly. I don't know how long we've gone, or indeed who's remaining, but that may be yeah, it says the wind chill's 16 and it's 21 right now, maybe 19, 21 I guess, and the weather looks like it'll be dropping down to 3 degrees overnight. I don't know about the wind chill, but it looks like when I get up early to do live stream the meditation, I'll be more frozen than now. Although possibly with warmer coffee in my hand. So there's the boxer stance. Rear weighted, it could be practiced, front weighted, and that's fine. but I think we'd normally like to find our default as a bit more to the rear. So roughly centered, a little bit favoring the rear, so what we might call 60 or 70% of our weight to the rear-ish. But it certainly can be practiced forward, and certainly the expressiveness through the stances from from rear to fore as a general idea when you're expressing outward. When you're expressing cover, block, duck, and weave, you might very well be going from fore to rear, and certainly up to down in the stance. All right, so let's do a little leg circle cool down again. Weight on one leg. I'm just circling my hip in a circle, and then circling my knee in a circle. And if you need to set down because you lose your balance, that's fine. And then circle the ankle in a circle. And we'll switch, other side. Hip in a circle, careful not to cantilever. Hip in a circle, knee in a circle, ankle in a circle. And other side. This time I'll do a circle one way, circle the other way. Hip, knee, ankle. So I'm just switching the direction each time. So it's not a momentum game, it's a bit more of a control and consciousness game. Knee, ankle. Good. Go, we'll shake it out. Okay. That might be enough outdoor teaching for me today. It's been a long, cold day of outdoor teaching, so. Okay, thank you all.